Must Be Something I Missed is a song that I wrote with my friend Mac McAnally, who's an insanely great songwriter and really good friend of mine. And I, as you know, a lot of my life is spent thinking about what's coming, you know, in a lot of different directions, you know, and so it's music or business or whatever. It seems that when you do what I do, that you're always kind of looking ahead, and it's almost impossible when you're always looking forward to live in the moment. So I talked to Mac on the phone one day, and it was just one of those days, you know, and so it was just
it's obvious.
I did not need another call about anything, you know, because it would have been the straw that broke the camel's back, you know what I mean? And so Mac had called me, you know, just talking, and he could tell that something was wrong with me. And I said, Mac, I said, do you ever feel like that you're so busy and you're so focused and you're so driven that, and you've been that way for a while, that you don't really feel like that you're living all the parts of your life that you need to be living. You just feel like you're existing in it.
Great
and
line.
Going to project to the next project to the next thing and the next thing and the next deadline to this and that. Now you don't have to do what I do. I mean, you can be consumed, overwhelmed in any way in life. You know what I mean? And feel like that you're not living your life, but you're just merely existing in it.
Right.
And I have friends that have wives that have several kids, and they feel that way.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to be, you know, do what I do to feel that. So that's what the root of this song is about, and the idea of it is realizing it maybe, and looking yourself in the mirror and seeing, well, where can you correct some of that and hang on to some of the things that's not too late to correct.
Right. It's a wide open song though. I love that one.
Thank you, man.
And Lindy, is he a real guy?
Lindy was a real person. Yeah, Lindy's passed now, but he was just one of those characters on Island Stormy that was a brush stroke, you know, that gave a certain island heart and charm and a story.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these songs do. I mean, that was the first song that I wrote. That was the first song that I wrote in this collection of songs in 2006. And never, ever, when I wrote Lindy, I never thought anybody would ever hear it, ever, you know, and now it's on this record, and it's just a very simple song about a person that when I say we, me and my circle of friends, that we didn't really know, but we felt like we knew him because he was just part of the makeup. You know what I mean? And I think that if you took the time to look into his eyes, you could tell he's a great person. If you look past his dirty shirt, he was a great person, and he loved music. And he was just one of those island characters that was the makeup of why we all loved it. And one night I was walking past a church, and the front door of the church was open. And I walked up, I was walking back to the house, and I walked up to the front steps of that church, and I was sat there, and it was Lindy, and they're playing piano. I didn't know he played piano. And I realized then that he loved music. I felt like I'd known him for a while, but even though our life was really different, I realized that moment that it was very similar, because there he was, just alone with his thoughts and his music.
Sound familiar?
And it sounds awfully familiar. And I realized right then that, you know, as different as we are, I realized at that moment that we were more common than I had ever imagined. And I went home that night and started writing the song Lindy. And that's how a lot of these songs were born. That's how a lot of these songs were written.
And you introduce us to Christy.
Yeah, I think we all have someone in our life that defined a circle of friends or a time of your life. And when that person dies young and passes, I think it has, I think it can ground us in ways that we don't see coming. I think it can change I think it can change us. It just stops you in your tracks, and I think it can ground you in ways that you don't see coming, and I think that it has the ability to change you. Because that's what happened to me. And it changes the way you look through the window of the world. You know, things that used to make me mad don't make me mad anymore. Things that that I used to get upset at or stress over. I still stress over some of that stuff, but it just changes you. It just makes you look at it a little differently because she walked through the world. I talk about living in the moment all the time. She was just, she was a pro at it. And she had more of an island-free spirit than anyone that I knew. She had enough for all of us. And that's why we were all such good friends. And I think that when somebody like that passes, that everybody was so close to, I think it makes you reevaluate your relationships with your lovers, I think with your friends, with your family. And so that's why I wrote the song Happy on the Hay Now, a song for Christy, because it's just a tribute to a really great soul who touched a lot of people, who was a really great character on an island that was a part of a group of her friends, that was a part of a group of friends that meant a whole lot to me.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Willie, a very in-depth song there for you and Willie to sing.
Well, I told Willie several years ago, I wish we could find something that really made people think. And I found Coconut Tree. I said, Willie, this is it. No, but I'll tell you, Coconut Tree really is, as simple as it is, I think it's a very important song on this record because it does represent this carefree existence of how I try to live my life and how I try to walk through the world, even though it's really hard. Sometimes it is as simple as hanging out with your girlfriend or your buddies and climbing up a coconut tree and yelling as loud as you can, or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm telling you right now, I would not have recorded that song if it hadn't been for Billy Currington, and that's a true story. 2 years ago, the 2011 tour, he opened for me.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I take all my band and crew down to the islands at the end of the year, and just to say a thank you to everyone. Well, Billy went with us. And every time that somebody couldn't find Billy, he was up in a coconut tree, and I could just see him doing it. You know, he had his shaggy hair, and he did it without. He did it barefooted.
Barefoot, right.
And there go Billy up that coconut tree. And then I heard this song, and I went, oh my God, that is Billy to a T right there. I mean, it's all of us, if you know it really.
Yeah.
And so, and I was able to spend some time with Willie in Hawaii this past year.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now, man, sitting around the poker table with Willie and listening to songs was a lot of fun. And that's why he's on this record, you know, because he does, in a lot of ways, represent that simplicity for me that I really want in my, you know, as a songwriter and as an artist and as a person. Willie continues to inspire the world in a lot of different ways, including me. And I think the idea of he and I singing Coconut Tree, a song that simple but that fun, that represents in a lot of ways how me and the guys, when I take my writing buddies down and we get on a boat and try to make music and write songs, this is how it sounds. Just a couple of guitars and bongos and, you know, that's it. And I'm glad we cut the song like that, and I'm really glad that Willie's sitting up in the top of that coconut tree with me.
With you and Billy.
That's right. Well, Billy's there. Yeah.
You guys go visit him.
That's right.
You've hinted at reggae in past projects, but this is full blown. That one, Spread the Love.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, there's no hinting around. This is full tilt reggae.
No, and I will tell you that I never knew that I was going to have a full-blown reggae song on my record, much less write one. But Family Man from the Wailers, one of the original members, and a couple of those guys wrote this song several years ago, wrote the music to it. And they were going to do a record, and they asked a lot of people to write lyrics to the music that they recorded.
Yeah.
And so they sent it to me. And I went, okay, what am I going to do with this? You know, like, I love this kind of music. What can I write to this wonderful reggae beat where all the accents are on the off, you know? It's a pop. That's what's great about reggae. It's just so different than the way we all think about music. You know, we think, not them, that, you know, so what am I going to write to this? And I stressed about it a little bit at first, because there comes this incredible responsibility to write a song, you know, that the Wailers did, and to represent Bob Marley and the Wailers in a good way.
Yeah.
So I had to sit with it for a while, but I think, you know, Stormy, if you watch enough TV, that you realize pretty soon that the world, you don't have to go very far to look for negativity in our world. We're consumed by it. It's like a blanket over all of us. So, and that's where I got the idea to write the lyrics to Spread the Love, because love was the thread of all the Wailers' music.
Sure. Of reggae period.
Of reggae period. And it's a lot of those songs are very religious songs, if you really sit and listen to them. So,
it's cool.
That's where that song came from. And it fit perfect. I didn't know it at the time that I was writing that song with Family Man and all those guys. But I didn't know that that record was never going to materialize, and that I had already had four or five songs written for this record, and then I had no idea that I was going to put Spread the Love on this record and that it would fit like it does. And I'm very proud of it.